know where India is? Is it in North America or is it in Asia? Sounds like everyone got it. Yeah, you guys are right. It's in Asia. And so it's a pretty big country. It actually has a very, very large amount of people that live in it.
Hi everyone, I'm Gargi, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm really hungry now, looking at all this delicious food. And we'll look at some Indian food now, so hopefully you guys will be even hungrier. Okay, so this is a little bit about me. I grew up in Michigan, so not from North Carolina. And then when I was in fourth grade, I moved to Pune in India. So I stayed in India for 7 years, and that's where I got to explore a lot of Indian food and Indian culture. So I hope you guys learned some of that from today's presentation. So first off, I have a question for everybody in the room. What do you guys know about Indian food? Can you name an Indian dish? If you know something that's an Indian food, raise your hand. Okay, we'll learn from this presentation. So there's a picture here on the right of samosa. I don't know if any of you have had it before, but it's kind of like a fried food or like a baked or a fried food, and it's really common in a lot of Indian restaurants here. But this slide just shows a picture of the like typical Indian meal. So if you see, there's a lot of different colors, which shows like all the different spices that they add. And it's a very balanced kind of meal with grains and dessert and vegetables and maybe some fruits. And you'll see that on the next slide too. Okay, so this slide shows the kind of the division of all the different nutrients. So there's in the grains and starchy vegetables, you have roti, which is kind of like in bread, and then you have a lot of rice. Indians love rice. There's a lot of different types of lentils and beans, and then vegetables like onions and tomatoes and um, bottle gourd and things like that are also really common. Okay, so this part of the presentation today is about foods that you'd see here in America and similar foods in India. So raise your hand if you like pancakes. Who likes pancakes and breakfast? I do. Okay, I see a lot of hands. So there is a similar alternative in India, and it's called uttapam. So uttapam it looks like this. It kind of looks like a pancake. The difference is that it's spicy, so it's not sweet. It has onions and tomatoes and different kind of spices, but it tastes really good, and a lot of Indians have that for breakfast. So how many of you like burgers? Raise your hand if you like burgers. 2 hands. So in India, there's a really famous alternative called vada pav. So vada pav is kind of like burgers. It has like inside there's a patty which has potatoes in it, and then there's like a bread called pav that's outside. And you find this in a lot of different like restaurants. Even they have street carts that sell food, and you find vada pav like pretty much anywhere you go in India. This one on the list is pasta. How many of you have had pasta recently? I see a bunch of people. So a thing that's similar to pasta in India is called dal dhokli, and the dal refers to lentil. So it's like a lentil soup, and the dhokli is like the pasta inside it. So there's lentil soup, and it has little bits of like similar to pasta, like uncooked pasta, and then it tastes a little bit different than pasta, but the way it's made is very similar. And finally, a dessert. Who likes donuts? There's a very similar alternative in India called gulab jamun, and it is my favorite dessert. It's baked similar to a donut, and it's dipped in sugary syrup. So kind of like Bosnian syrup. It has a lot of syrup in it. So it tastes similar to a glazed donut. And where do you go shopping, or where do your parents go shopping to get you food from? For all your suggestions, guys, those are great places to go for groceries. So in India, they have slightly different stores. There are a lot of farmers markets in India, so they're very common to find where farmers can come and lay out all of their vegetables, and people can come and buy vegetables straight from the farmer. So this is a great way to get the food directly from the farmer to the customer. Also, grocery stores like the ones that you guys listed. And these grocery stores can be big corporations, or they're most likely going to be smaller businesses. So each neighborhood can have a different grocery store. And you see these kinds of things in those grocery stores. And finally, the last example I have is street vendors. So you don't really see this very commonly in America, but in India, a lot of grocery store kind of owners, they have their own little carts, and they take the carts from neighborhood to neighborhood. So um, if you're at your home, sometimes you can hear the street vendor calling out that he's selling these vegetables and he's coming through the neighborhood. So you can go outside and buy your vegetables right there. So what is your favorite restaurant? I heard a lot of new restaurants actually. And Pizza Hut is also my favorite restaurant, so good. So you'll be happy to know if you do go to India, a lot of these restaurants are also there in India. So they also have McDonald's, which is on the left, and Domino's on the right. And they also have Pizza Hut and KFC and places like that. Food in India is like street stalls, so roadside stalls. There are a lot of chefs who just set up their stalls beside the street in a busy area, and you can get really good food right on the corner of the street when you're going somewhere.